I am Optimus Prime, and I approve this message.
Wow.
Welcome to our warehouse. We really do have monsters in our closet.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's where we keep everything before Salt Lake Comic-Con, hanging out with our fans.
And here's Azog. You know, I met Manu, and he is so much more attractive in person.
You're not the only one that thought that.
I believe it. Oh, Gollum, here he is just hanging out. I think the trolls are back here taking a nap. And Han Solo, wow, and Carbonite. You guys really do pull out all the stops for your fans.
You know, the fans wouldn't have it any other way.
We've traveled all over going to conventions and events.
We discovered we have the greatest fans in the world.
In fact, most conventions don't come close to the dedicated cosplayers that we have.
Cosplay, that's costume play. So people get all dressed up as their favorite heroes and books and people from pop culture, right?
And acting the part.
Yes, and our fans are out of this world. They go all out when it comes to design and craftsmanship. In fact, they actually take on the persona of the characters that they're portraying. It's a lot of fun.
I heard we have the biggest number of cosplayers.
And the most dedicated, accurate, and detailed around.
Some look like they just walked off the movie set.
Oh, hello. Miss Nadia, Masters Brian and Dan. Perhaps you meant looked as though they shuffled and rolled off the set, like myself and my friend here. Utah cosplayers are becoming very well known indeed. Utah is not only the nerdiest state in America, but the immensely geeky community is becoming very well known for their absolute and stunning creativity. The cosplay galaxy is rapidly growing.
Some of these cosplays are just really awesome.
So cosplayers is a relatively new term.
Actually, I didn't even know what cosplaying was. I was cosplaying, I didn't know what cosplaying was.
It's fun.
First off is, number one, have a passion for whatever character you want.
If you want to be your hero, you can be your hero.
I am Groot.
We're not offended by the term, but I don't think we associate with it as much as you might think.
So it's a lot of discovering what you can do and improving it.
People have absolutely come out of the woodwork. There are thousands of people with costumes.
I've seen so many cosplayers, and it's blown up completely.
You know, I think we have a great cosplay community in Salt Lake, and it's growing, and the people that do amazing stuff here.
I happen to have a couple friends that did cosplay, and they were like, hey, we like this, you should try it. And I was like, that's weird.
I'm the local chapter president of the Alpine Garrison. The Alpine Garrison is a chapter of the 501st Legion, which is an international Star Wars costuming club. We do the bad guys.
Hulk smash.
We are a diversity of science fiction. We got everybody from Brown Coats, 501st members, V fan club members, Galaxy Quest. There's a whole bunch of us. We're just a big old group. We've got such a diversity, it's awesome.
Most of the time it's just inspiration. If I see something that I like, I'm just like, I have to be that. Or a lot of it has to do with my hair, because my hair is like more than 3 feet long.
I am Groot.
It's very nice to see that people get into the characters, that their favorite characters.
I got into cosplay because I've basically been raised on theater, but one of my favorite things to do was make costumes. So I heard about Salt Lake Comic Con, and I decided to go out in full body paint as a Sith lady, Darth Talon. It's a great community, cosplayers, because it's just these adults who love to play dress up.
My first goal was I wanted something from the movies. That's one of the first reasons I joined the Rebel Legion. I want to be able to look as good as I can from something from the movies. I didn't look like Ewan McGregor or Liam Neeson or Mark Hamill, so, you know, looking exactly like them wasn't going to happen. But with the Rebel Legion, there are plenty of opportunities to try and get something that's as real as possible.
I think with cosplay, It's more, the focus is just on the fact that, you know, oh, you've built a costume and you're doing a character. It's what we do with our costumes and where we do it and why we do it that I think kind of doesn't fit the mold.
I couldn't imagine going to Comic-Con without being in cosplay.
It's absolutely not required, but I think it adds a whole nother depth to it. And for some people, it's just wearing a geeky t-shirt is their cosplay, and that helps them get into the atmosphere more.
We try to get as close to the movie quality as we possibly can.
501st Blaster Trooper.
When I first saw it, I said, you can get Stormtrooper armor? I want some. So I started looking around on the internet. It wasn't, the 501st Legion hadn't quite formed yet at the time, but I found people selling kits, and by 1998, I had built my first Stormtrooper kit. And over time, I found the 501st Legion online and joined, and been happy ever since.
As a fellow cosplayer, although a bit amateur, it does not surprise me how dedicated these cosplayers are. I mean, that's one of the cool things about cosplay, is the level of detail, you know, to truly appreciate it. Everybody's, it's just a bunch of costumes, you can get those anywhere. No, most of these are handmade.
I know there's some people we know that dress up their babies, and that's great. They do a great job. Depends on how much help they have.
The cosplay community is extremely helpful. Like, there's a lot of online support that we have for Cosplay Utah, where we can go in and ask, like, hey, I'm making this, how do I do it? Or this wig in this color with this style, and everyone just kind of helps each other out.
You go up to someone and ask them how they did their costume, they'll happily tell you.
I have never had a single cosplayer in the state say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Fortunately, we are here to help each other. It's not just rogue based in Utah, in Idaho and Montana. We're an international club. I've gotten help from people as far away as Argentina and New Zealand before. Same with her. It's a global community.
You kind of get in character, and you, looking in the mirror when you finish the look, you're just like, you feel like a different person.
Harley Quinn, pleased to meet you. Bye-bye for now.
You know, the one thing I find really amazing about cosplayers in Utah is their dedication to becoming real-life superheroes.
Yeah, they practice cosplay, C-A-U-S-E play.
That's right. The amount of time they spend dressed in costume has increased substantially as they participate in the community.
They used to dress up at convention once in a while, but now they're getting in character once or twice a week.
Becoming our real-life superheroes.
What drew me to the Rebel Legion and what we do is the charity aspect. So we use it cosplay, C-A-U-S-E. So we do something for a cause.
Our purpose is to use the costumes of Star Wars to be able to promote charity, help the community, in addition to promoting Star Wars. So instead of a cosplay group, we're actually kind of a cos work group, if you think about it.
The elbow grease goes into these costumes. The elbow grease goes into the effort that we put together, whether it be, you know, the Adopt-A-Highways or just doing things to make either ourselves better or improve the world around us.
What we do is more than just putting on a costume for something that we like. It's getting out and raising awareness for whatever it is we happen to be supporting that particular day.
I volunteer for Kids Hero Foundation, and so sometimes I go to different places dressed as Supergirl to try and raise money for things or just to cheer up some kids.
We are a charity costuming organization. We've worked with organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Toys for Tots, Muscular Dystrophy Association. We have done hospital visits. We do other community events, library events.
We always have something to do. There's always one charity or organization saying, hey, would you mind helping us out?
I've always kind of liked charity, and it makes me feel good to be able to finally give back, but enjoy what I'm doing while I'm giving back.
Charity events are so rewarding for her, but they're so hard at the same time. She will come home in tears sometimes and just be like, oh, that was so hard. Why do these kids have to go through that?
I am Groot.
With great power does come great responsibility.
And this woman just comes up to me crying, saying how much Chewbacca means to her and how important it was, and just kind of going on about that, and she thought I was Peter Mayhew. She didn't realize that I was just dressed up like this. She thought I was actually him.
As we'd walk into uniform, they would all recognize that uniform, and they would come up and they would gather around with you, and you could sit and you could read a story to them or something like that. People will ask us, why do you wear these uniforms? And I look at them and I say, it's flypaper.
Aspen is really unique to me in the way that she actually researches her characters. She actually choreographs in her mind how she's going to be that character and how they move and how they walk and how they act, or even how the certain looks they give.
You are that character to them, and so you kind of have to live up to that. You have to have that princess presence and just be able to handle that responsibility.
We do a lot of bedside visits, and I did something which I never do, which is I unmasked myself. And she started jumping all over the bed. It's a girl! You're a girl! I want to be a stormtrooper too! I think that was one of my favorite moments ever.
I am Groot.
Yes, I've spent about $1,500 on one costume, but how many children have I made smile? How many times have I been able to bring awareness to a cause?
In this crowd of people, this little girl, she must have been 5 or 6 years old, came walking up to me, and I could see through the visor of a helmet, and I said, "What's up, sweetie?" And she just started bawling. And she goes, "I'm lost, and I can't find my little brother." And for me, I thought that was kind of cool. There must have been some sort of connection or something that she thought that she felt. I don't know, maybe I looked official, like a police officer or something. But I just thought it was cool that she could have gone to any adult that was unmasked, yet she chose to come to Boba Fett.
This little boy came in who must have been about 4 or 5. I was dressed as Spider-Man, and he ran up, jumped up, gave me a hug for about 30 seconds, and he was just so excited to be able to meet Spider-Man.
You want to leave a positive impact on the kids you meet, so because they don't see me as being Blake, they see me as Star-Lord, and you want them to leave with that good impression. So whether you do a good thing for them, you know, maybe some point later they'll remember that and pay it forward to somebody else.
The amount of people that knew our charitable mission in the community was just amazing. I've done cons all over the country, and at Salt Lake was one of the few times that people actually thanked me for being part of the 501st.
An 8-year-old with Down syndrome come up to him. This little boy wanted to meet him in his rocket costume, and so he put on his helmet, and there was like a little change in him where this little boy came up and he said, "Are you Rocket? Are you really Rocket Raccoon?" And he just looked at him and said, "Yes, I am." He asked if he could have a hug. He gave him a hug, and it was really fun to see that kind of reaction for a little kid's costume.
We are Groot.
We're gonna be
Are you aware Utah is one of the biggest producers of viral videos on the internet?
Yes, we're actually the 2nd largest producer in the world.
And a lot of those videos star Utah cosplayers.
Stormtrooper twerk, dancing stormtroopers.
By Scott DW, January 2014. 7 million views. How exciting.
Superhero soccer, heroes doing a pickup game.
Posted in March by Ronnie Street Stunts and Sean Cannon. 1 billion hits in 3 months.
And Dark Lord Funk, Harry Potter's nemesis who shall not be named.
Posted by K-Face TV. 9 million views in 3 months. And an amazing tweet from J.K. Rowling herself. Exciting.
Assassin's Creed meets parkour in real life.
Posted by Devon Supertramp, September 2012. 47 million views. And the second video, 25 million. The newest, over 1 million views in 3 days.
Millions around the world watch those videos, so we checked in with the video geniuses.
I just decided I wanted to do a dance video, but something that no one had ever seen before, just something kind of quirky. It just came to me one day that seeing stormtroopers dance would be amazing, and creating kind of this story of like, what do stormtroopers do when Darth Vader's away? So I pitched the idea to Jason, and his first response was, "There's no way we can dance in those things." And I said, "All right, let's try." So I bought a costume.
I put it on, and it's super restricting. Those costumes are very, very restricting. But he put some music on, and I kind of started
I think
popping.
I just beatboxed, dude. And what you did was like enough for me. I was like, all right, I'm buying the rest of the costumes and we're making this.
And we just knew that in Utah, we just have so many amazing dancers here. We were in rehearsal. It wasn't Stormtrooper twerk, it was just Stormtrooper dance. And then Marquette, one of the guys, is a really good twerker. And I was like, Marquette, let me see you twerking it. And he did it. And I was like, Scott, I was actually scared to tell him. I'm like, Scott, we're going to twerk. And Scott's like, do it.
After the success of that, it just confirmed to me that creating dance videos combined with the music and storytelling, which I love, all of those elements coming together were just like so fulfilling for us. It was actually because of like Comic-Con, we're like, let's do something in that world. I always thought it'd be hilarious to see Harry Potter and Ron and Hermione dancing. If they're in the forest, like who else would be in the forest? Oh, Twilight. Let's have them both meet in this like common place. Totally two different worlds, and have them dance battle.
And Scott doesn't spare any expense with the videos. He doesn't like the costumes to look bad, the set to look bad.
Star Trek was a fun video to put together, / very difficult. I want this to be authentic. We rented anamorphic lenses, the exact same lenses that they shot Star Trek on, which are very, very expensive and are only in LA.
People on YouTube started talking about the dance battles. Under every video, he says, "Who do you want to see battle next?" And it always views 697
There's thousands and thousands of suggestions. So we've got our work cut out for us.
So I've always been a big fan of comic books. I'm obviously a singer-songwriter, and I wanted to bring my two passions together. Well, so soccer is my favorite sport. I love superheroes and I love soccer, so what if we just put the two together? What would happen if you had all these fictional characters, these superhero characters, playing soccer using their abilities to play? And I thought it just was such a fun concept. I'm like, I gotta make this video. It's awesome watching these cosplayers. You know, they're great at it. They have all different personalities. There's a good variety, and having them lip sync my song is really fun to watch because it's, you know, it's my baby. I don't have to like figure out how to create the costume. I don't have to create, you know, I don't have to find someone to train them how to act the character. Instead, we can just say, hey, I need a cosplayer for this character, and boom.
Nerdy with me. Tell me what game that you get on.
I had the idea for my first one, Talk Nerdy to Me, which was conveniently my first viral video as well. And it was based around all this kind of nerdy, geeky content of, you know, comic books, games.
Talk nerdy to me.
Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Star Wars, some math stuff in there, just kind of that whole genre realm.
Talk nerdy to me.
I wrote out Dark Lord Funk. It kind of hit me, hey, I could do a Voldemort twist on this. I got 5 million views in 5 days. That tweet is unreal. I had this like creator of Harry Potter itself.
Technically a celebrity endorsement, so.
Called our work genius. The cosplay community here is pretty eager and pretty awesome. On our most recent one, Dark Knight Changes. It was a Batman-themed one. And so we reached out and got a couple local Batmans, 3 of them, 3 different from totally different Batman suits, and Catwoman and Bane, all Utah cosplayers.
All singing One Direction.
All singing a One Direction song.
Time to go solo.
Hey, Bane.
Goodbye.
You can't just leave the group, Zane. Bane? Bane left the group.
Where did you go during the commercial break?
That is not what you were wearing.
Well, I'm really getting into this cosplay thing.
I'd say. You know, Dan, Brian, Salt Lake Comic-Con has made such a big positive impact in the community. It's now why Utah is the #1 geek state. You've given us a huge event where we can all come together.
It's been a great journey.
And we're not even close to being finished yet. And we've got more adventures to be had coming up in September.
We have one of our best guest lineups ever. In fact, we've got Captain America, Chris Evans, we've got Alex Kingston from Doctor Who, we've got Scott Wilson from Walking Dead, Ian Somerhalder from Vampire Diaries.
And we've got Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings and many more.
Thanks, Dan and Brian, for joining us tonight. And thanks, Sean and Doug, for taking us into the realm of Cosplay Awakens.
We were watching Salt Lake Comic-Con just grow, and it was just astounding to us that a first-year con was able to do what they did.
Kind of like that scene from Jaws, you're going to need a bigger boat. I just knew that it was going to explode.
Just before the scene started to explode, and then after that, for September, there was like the professional cosplayers that came, there was like the more active cosplayers that were like, I'm going to wear my cosplay out, and they're just going to accept it. And then there was a lot of normal people walking around. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, what is this world?
There are thousands of people with costumes, and we're friends with many of them.
And then at the next Fan X, they had just after that, like, the cosplayers doubled. And then in the September again, they doubled even more, and it just keeps spiraling out of control.
It's probably just about tripled because before, cosplay was just something that was kind of an underground community.
Salt Lake Comic-Con has, helped obviously bring that to light and kind of encouraged a lot more people to do it.
People are moving here in order to be involved with Comic-Con.
I actually moved to Utah because of Comic-Con.
And the community is just so friendly and open and accepting. So it's almost not even a worry of, okay, are they going to like it or not? It's just they're going to be excited to see what you're wearing and what you made.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm beyond that because I love what I do. I've been actually punched in the head in my costume before. I don't care. For me, it's fun. It's all part of it.
For every negative person out there putting your costume down or saying something bad about what you're doing, you're going to find 10 to 20 more that are supportive, and it's just a good community of people to be around.
You will never, ever hear somebody say, grow up and act your age.
Now that it's actually socially acceptable, I feel like I fit in now.
I love it. I love Comic-Con.
I consider Salt Lake Comic-Con as a bridge between them and us. It allows us all to come together and be one, without being assimilated, of course.
I think it just gives people an opportunity to be themselves a lot of times. We are now as valid as a sports fan wearing a big block of cheese on their head and their favorite, their favorite person's jersey. We're now on that same level. To
see the evolution, and the first year was a lot of lines and just challenges, and the second year was just amazing for Fan X, which is just fantastic how quickly it evolved and how much the fans just embraced us that much more.
It's big, it's bigger. Like, I'm waiting for Dan to take it to 4 days here. Like, 4-day con, come on, we need more than 3 days. 3 is not enough.
There's the family you're born into and the family that you choose, and this is the family that we choose.
These people are amazing people of the 501st, and I love being part of this costuming organization for the charity aspect, for the friendship, for my own self-gratification that I have in it. I love it. Love the 501st and Comic-Con.